Hello, beautiful ladies. This is episode number 85 of the When Marriage Hurts podcast, and my name is Ola Davis. Today's episode, I want to address a question or a comment that I get a lot of times when people join our private Facebook group, which is the When Marriage Hurts group. There's a question, or I should say a questionnaire, really, that people fill out, a short questionnaire, where the question is asked what people are wanting to gain by joining the group. And what is by far the most common answer to that question is what I want to address on this episode. So don't go nowhere. I will be right back after this. Hey sis, welcome to the When Marriage Hurts podcast. I'm your host, Ola Davis. My mission is to help Christian women in painful marriages become aware of the marriage lies our society and religion has programmed our heads with. Are you tired of marriage advice that always blames you for whatever goes wrong in your marriage? Have you attended all the marriage seminars seeking help only to be blamed and shamed for your marriage problems? Has your marriage become the source of your greatest pain? Have you lost hope of being happily married? Are you just hanging in for the sake of your kids? I've been there before. I know what it is like to feel alone in marriage, yet feel trapped by the wedding vows that I made. Together, we will discover scriptural truths that set us free from the pain so that healing can begin. Oh yeah, let's shake some tables. Welcome back. I hope you're having a good summer so far. I am. I'm not having a fun-filled summer, but I'm having a good one. I get to do fun things, but I'm also spending a lot of time introspecting and planning for the next few months. Yes, so what is this question that we are addressing on this episode? When ladies fill out that questionnaire to join our private Facebook group, the most common response to the questionnaire that asks about what they are hoping to gain from joining that group is that they want to learn how to cope. Now, a lot of ladies write, oh, I want to get some support. But quite a number of people write, I want to learn how to cope with my marriage. So I thought, if we had a podcast episode that addresses that wouldn't be such a bad idea, right? So I'm going to make this short and quick as much as I can. Yes. How do you cope when you find yourself in such a difficult marriage and what some might even call destructive? How do you cope? If you're someone who's asked this question, or if that's a question that's right on top of your mind, I would ask you to get a pen and a paper or something to write with, if you don't mind. And think to yourself, why do I want to cope with this situation? Why do I want to cope with this situation? Write the questions down for now so that you can think about your answers later and possibly write those down too. But I want you to ask, why do you want to cope with this situation? Why? There has to be a why. There has to be a why. Is it for your children? Is it for the sake of your own conscience because you don't want to violate your religious beliefs? Is it for your family or, because of the people that you love, friends and family? and what they would say if you decide that you don't want to cope with the situation. I think it's important to identify your own why. Another question that I think you should ask yourself is, what does coping mean for you in your marriage? What does coping mean? What does that look like? Like when you say you want to learn ways to cope, what exactly do you mean by that? Do you mean you want to learn how not to be so affected by how terribly your spouse treats you? Do you mean you want to learn how to be happy regardless of how your spouse is treating you? What does it mean to you, like to cope? What does coping mean to you? Because we shouldn't assume that means the same thing for everybody. What does it mean to you? Another question I think is worth asking is, what are you currently losing as a result of this marriage? What are you currently losing? What are you currently losing? List everything you can think of. If you think it's happiness, you could write that down. If you think is your health, whether that's mental health, physical health, and also break that down. So if you think you're losing your mental health as a result of this marriage, what does that look like? Are you saying that because you're depressed, or you're moody most of the time, or you're cranky? Like, what does that look like for you on a day-to-day basis? If you say you're losing your physical health, what does that mean for you? How exactly has your physical health deteriorated? What have you been diagnosed of? If you haven't been diagnosed, what physical symptoms are you having? You should write those down. And then what does coping mean for your children? If you have children, what does that mean? And for those of you who don't have children, what does coping mean for your life in general? What does it mean how is this, if you're someone who works outside of the home, how is this affecting your work? How is this affecting your work outside of the home? How is it affecting your other relationships? How is your marriage affecting how you relate to your own family of origin, your own parents, your own siblings? How is it affecting how you relate to your own friends? Are you free to have healthy relationships, the kind of healthy relationships you had, at least healthy ones you had before you were married? Or has your marriage affected your ability to sustain friendships and to sustain these other loving relationships outside of your family? The reason I encourage you to ask yourself these questions and write them down is because it can set off, it puts your thinking on a track that you might not have put your thinking on before. It opens your eyes to see how much damage that has happened over the years. When we're in difficult marriages or emotionally abusive marriages, one thing that happens to us is we become so laser focused on fixing the marriage. And then after that, we do get to a point where we're tired and we're starting to see that fixing this marriage is not a one-woman job. It's not a one-person job. And the other party is not willing to put in the work to make any changes. So we kind of come to terms with the fact that probably this isn't going to change. And that's when we start thinking of ways to cope. So it's all focused on the marriage, that we lose sight of how it's affecting us, how it's affecting the things that matter the most to us, how it's affecting our relationships outside of the marriage, how it's affecting our work, our career, and all of that, how it's affecting the children. We tend to lose sight of that. So that's why I'm encouraging you all to write down these questions and think of the answers to them. If you're having a hard time coming up with the answers, you can, set it aside for a while and then come back to it at a later time. So ladies, that's all I wanted to tell you on today's episode. I know I'm not giving you like 3 steps to do this and that. I think it's important, rather than giving you steps to XYZ, I think it's really important to sit down with yourself and answer these questions for yourself. And the answers that you think of that come up in your mind, I think those answers in themselves will be quite insightful. And then we could take it from there in future episodes. Okay, I hope this helps someone. I really hope you ladies get to do this. And you can send me a direct message on Facebook, on the Facebook group, When Marriage Hurts. You can also send me a direct message on Instagram at When Marriage Hurts. I would love to hear from you, from anyone that does this exercise, and how the answers might have benefited you or provided you with some clarity. All right. Yes, so this is as much as we can take today. For those of you that are considering booking a one-on-one session with me, I still have some limited spots open. You're going to find the link on the Facebook group. You're going to find it on the Instagram account. And I am also going to put it in the show notes. So if you have been considering booking a one-on-one session and you just haven't gotten around to it, you want to do that as soon as possible and, get some clarity. You can also book an hour session. And let's help you get some clarity here. You're not alone. You don't have to walk this path alone. All right? Okay, I hope you have a good rest of your week. And please take good care of yourself. I love you. Bye. Has this podcast blessed you? If yes, please head over to Apple Podcasts, When Marriage Hurts, and leave a written review for the show. It would be such a blessing to me to know that this show has impacted you in some ways. Also, share this podcast with a friend. Let's spread the word. Lastly, if you would like to be a part of a community of like-minded women of faith who are on a journey to living the best life God has for them despite their marriage challenges, join our Facebook group, When Marriage Hurts. Until next time, remember these words of Jesus. Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest.